Today we're going to be talking about Matthew chapter 24, verse 9. It's titled Persecution of the Disciples. Then they will hand you over to be persecuted and will kill you. You will be hated by all nations because of my name. Then many will be led into sin, and they will betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many and become lawless. And because oh my gosh, that's a hard word to say. And because lawlessness will increase so much, the love of many will grow cold. But the person who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole inhabited earth as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Okay, so there's a specific part of that here that resonates with me, and I'm sure it could resonate with you. So we probably have all gone through hardships with our friends. I'm someone that struggled with that for like years of my life. I just remember, I thought it turned off. I just remember having so many moments where I was like, I had friends and then I'd have problems and I wouldn't know what to do. So I'd run to my own solutions. And typically the friendships weren't based on God. They weren't the roots of our friendship weren't strengthened by God. And because of that, they always fell short, and it always ended with someone trying to prove somebody else wrong. My whole point whenever I argued with somebody, and I still do this to this day, is that I try to prove myself right, and that's the complete opposite of what you need to be doing when you have a friendship and you have a problem in your friendship. Because proving yourself right is never going to solve anything, because at the end of the day, it's the cross that matters. It's a matter of what Jesus did for you on the cross. It's a matter of heaven or hell. It's a matter about relationship with God. That problem that you have with a friend isn't going to matter when you're gone. So you just need to let the cross strip you of your ego and your pride. But more importantly, so when it says, then many will be led into sin, and they will betray one another and hate another, that's what I'm referring to. Is that when your friendship isn't based upon God, regardless, you're going to face problems, even if it is a Christ-centered friendship. But it's a matter of what you do when you have the problems. It's a matter of how you solve your problems. It's not just when you have when I had my friendships with so many people who I would lose the friendship, then I'd go back to it. I'd lose it, then I'd go back to it. And then ultimately nothing was being solved, because the core problem in myself and the core problem within that person was still there. So when your friendship, like here, it's saying you'll hate one another. When that's constantly happening because you're both in a battle of sin and you both haven't gone to God, your friendship is inevitably going to fall apart. But here it says, in this gospel of the kingdom, in this, oh my gosh, and this gospel of the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole inhabited earth as a testimony to all nations, and the end will come. And then before that it says, but the person who endures to the end will be saved. So that's saying that when you have sin in your life and you've gone to God about that sin, you know what to do with that problem. And so now when I have problems with friends, I know that there's always going to be the temptation to prove the other person wrong and feed my own ego. And so you have to set that aside. You have to speak to the person with honesty, not with I'm trying to get revenge, or I'm trying to maybe not hurt you, but prove you so wrong that one of us gets hurt. Because that's typically how it works in this generation, is they tell you that you need to be right all the time. There's always temptations to be right. Okay. And I also have written on here, says we will sin against each other. It doesn't mean you'll have no problems with your Christian friends, because in a world full of sin, we all fall short. So the misconception about Christianity and being a follower of God is that things will be perfect, but they're not. There's no guarantee that it's going to be perfect. So it's a matter of what you do when you're in the storm, because God promises you peace in the storm. The main thing I'm trying to convey to you all is that when you have problems with your brothers or your sisters, maybe not literally, I'm talking like spiritually, like a friend can be considered a brother in this context. when you have problems with your brother and sister, it's better to speak with the person and resolve it rather than hold on to that resentment and anger and let it build up and don't speak about it for nights. So it's better to solve the problem with the person before you even go to bed. That way you can let all that resentment die. You can let all of it go on the cross where Jesus went and paid for it. And you can let it just be gone. So that's what I'm really trying to tell you all here. I'm trying to look if I have anything else written down. I know that the main point of this title, or not the main point, but I know the title of this is called Persecution of Disciples. So I also want to touch on that too, because even outside of friendships, actually, this could even be your friend. This could just be somebody who isn't a follower of God. This could be agnostic, atheist, different religion, whatever it is, but just someone that isn't on the same spiritual path as you. You're going to receive persecution for being a Christian. That's a guarantee when you devote your life to God. You look at Jesus. Jesus was the one perfect human being, the sinless person, the only sinless person on this earth. And he was still killed. So in that same way, you could do things as right as you could by the word of God, and you will still get persecuted. You could be as genuine and authentic to everyone around you, and you will still get persecuted. And that's just how the world works. That's just how the world full of sin works. People are going to have their disagreements with you. But at the end of the day, like it says, if you endure through that and continue to follow the law and the word of God, you'll be saved. And it's just kind of straight up, like, you will be saved. So yeah, that's the main point, is that whether it's persecution by other people or it's a friendship problem and you need to let go of certain grudges you hold against people, that you'll be like, that's, I keep saying that's the main point, but you know what I mean? Like, that's, sometimes you don't need to dig around and look for 100 answers. Maybe the one answer is right in front of you. So yeah, that's really it. See you guys. Love you.